Don't underestimate the player. Episode 3 of Somebody starts with a flashback of what happened during Yong Ji-eun's date. She arrived at the place he picked for their date to find Yeon-oh in a wheelchair in an empty pool. He soon tells her that he lied about being disabled and stands up from his wheelchair. Yong Ji-eun gets scared and tries to make a run for it, but Yeon-oh calms her down, saying he was just curious about her. Yong Ji-eun calms down and she allows him to carry her and they play pretend that they are swimming. Yong Ji-eun makes the first move to kiss him and they have consensual sex. After the sex, he leaves her alone in the deserted forest area and takes her phone and wheelchair with him. This forces C to crawl up the hill to her car. Once she gets to her car, she tries to drive, but it is difficult for her without the help of her wheelchair. She hits the side of the hill and her car gets stuck. This sadly leaves her no option but to crawl to the main road, where she gets help from a taxi which drops her off at Mok-won's place. Mok-won questions Yong Ji-eun about what happened to her, but she refuses to tell her. She uses Mok-won's phone to call her phone and a strange woman picks up. She says a stranger left the phone at her restaurant and asks Yong Ji-eun to pick it up in a few days as she is leaving for a trip. She also uses Mok-won's phone to check for the profile of her abuser on the Somebody dating app, but it has already been deactivated. Mok-won asks her to go and report him at the station, but she refuses as she is feeling embarrassed about what happened to her. Mok-won asks her to call Kim Sum. Kim Sum is still despondent about not hearing back from Yeon-oh, who is busy at work pretending to be a normal human being. She tries going on the Somebody app to connect with someone new. She is intrigued by a profile by the name Asperger but is distracted by the multiple calls she keeps ignoring from Mok-won. Finally, Mok-won texts her explaining she is a friend of Yong Ji-eun and invites her to her place. Kim Sum visits her immediately and speaks to Yong Ji-eun, who asks her to help her identify a user on the Somebody dating app. Kim Sum denies this request at first, but Yong Ji-eun explains that she was almost killed. Kim Sum says she can't give out any user's personal information, so Yong Ji-eun says that she will handle it on her own. Before leaving, Mok-won, who is a shaman, tells Kim Sum that she needs to meet with Yong Ji-eun again. Kim Sum goes to visit Yong Ji-eun at her home this time around and is shocked at how the place has changed. Mok-won also comes to the meeting and tries to mediate between the two old friends. They eat and share a meal and Kim Sum asks her about her dating ordeal. Kim Sum is more curious about the sex she had with the stranger and Yong Ji-eun is happy to give her all the details, but she lies about everything. Kim Sum is excited about making up with Yong Ji-eun and meeting someone with Asperger's on Somebody's dating app. They exchange messages on the app and she even offers to lend him a book. Mok-won goes to collect Yong Ji-eun's phone from the restaurant and tries to get more information about the man who left the phone there. The restaurant owner is not forthcoming with any information. Mok-won devises a plan to find out more and promises to visit the restaurant more. She also hires a man to be a lookout for Yeon-oh at the restaurant. Later that night, Yeon-oh visits the restaurant and the man who works for Mok-won alerts her and sends a photo, but unfortunately it is not clear enough. Mok-won asks him to take a better photo, but he is spotted by Yeon-oh, who chases him down the alley and captures him. He takes the man's phone and calls Mok-won and informs her that he has taken the man and mocks her, saying he will be her new lookout. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Episode 4 of Somebody starts with Yeon-oh finally replying to Kim Sum's message 5 days after she texted him on the Somebody dating app. He apologizes for the late response and invites her for dinner and a drive the next evening. She also gets a message from Agape, the guy with the Asperger's profile. He asks her to bring the book she wanted to lend to him. They plan to meet the next evening as well and exchange the book. She first meets with Agape at some dark-lit corner of the street. He forces her into an unfinished building and tries to rape her. She manages to fight him off and tries to escape but keeps getting lost in the building. He keeps chasing her around the building and corners her in one of the toilets. She fights back and in the struggle, she uses the razor Yeon-oh gave her to slit his throat. She stands watch as he slowly and painfully struggles to breathe. His friends see what she did to their friend and they run. Apparently, they were under the impression that she invited them there. She calls the police and reschedules her date with Yeon-oh and offers to treat him to a meal instead. She gets a lawyer who helps to handle the case with the police, and the traumatic event stirs up some disturbing childhood memories with her mom. She goes home and tells the original chat box she first made as a teenager about the ordeal. She admits to it that she killed a man and felt euphoric about it. The next day she reports to work and her workers are shocked. One of them asks her to consider resting, but she says she needs to follow her routine. She can only rest when it is scheduled. They are also shocked she put candy in the happy box at the office. Young visits her at her office and informs her that the police are requesting access to the user's information in relation to the killing of Agapi. Young doesn't want to disclose the information to the police. She offers the number of the real leader of the gang to Kim Sum, but she declines the offer. She wants to find them by herself, and Young thinks that means she is okay. After Young leaves her office, she receives a message from Yeon-oh asking her about their dinner plans. She apologizes and tells him that she has not been feeling at ease. He immediately calls her through the app and she tells him that she is looking for people. He is curious why she is looking for these people. She flatly explains that she wants to kill them as she hates them so much. He tells her that he is willing to help her and offers to visit her immediately. She says she is busy, but she will try and reschedule their date. She gets a call from Young Ji-yeon and she tells her that she found the information on the man who left her for dead in the middle of nowhere. She immediately heads over to Young Ji-yeon's house and asks Mok-won to help her find someone as well. Mok-won tells her that they only found Young Ji-yeon's abuser by chance. She paid for a lookout at the swimming pool they visited on their date. Young Ji-yeon is curious why Kim Sum is interested in someone. Kim Sum tells them that she is looking for the gang of men who lured her and tried to rape her. They are surprised that Kim Sum is unable to get the user's information. She explains it is not available to her even though she created the app. They devise a plan on how to lure their attackers and kill them. After they leave Young Ji-yeon's place, Kim Sum asks to speak to Mok-won about her job as a shaman. She is curious about how it works and wants Mok-won to sense something for her. She wants Mok-won to expel the monster in her. Mok-won tells her she senses an evil spirit in her and asks her to leave the blade she is carrying behind. Kim Sum refuses to part with her blade and leaves. She later receives a message from Yeon-oh asking if she found the person she was looking for. He also shares his number and asks her to call. She calls him and he seems worried about her as he has seen her case on the news. She tells him that she has not made any progress and asks to meet. They meet and she tells him about the incident. She tells him she was scared and still has problems sleeping at night. He says he should leave, but Kim Sum says he can chat with her AI friend before he leaves. The AI tells him about Kim Sum feeling euphoric after killing someone and he shares his desire to sleep and murder people with Kim Sum. He deletes this after he types, but the computer is programmed to remember everything. The next day, the police visit Yeon-oh at his office to ask about the disappearance of Nun. He tells them that he shared a meal with her before she left to see Professor Min, her lover. The police visit Professor Min to question him as well. The police come back to interrogate Yeon-oh about the silo where Professor Min said he was lured and tortured. Yeon-oh tells them he visited the silo as he was curious and saw a human earlobe. The police believe that Professor Min is lying and Nun might be alive. The episode ends with a human female leg hanging out from a hole in the silo and slowly dripping blood.